Welcome to a collaborative video of Simcoe County EarlyON Child and Family Centers in partnership with EarlyON Indigenous Co-ordinator Angela. Joining Angela today are from Simcoe North, Margie, from E3, Jen, and from Empower Simcoe, Leanne.
Well, hello everyone. It's so nice to see all of you, especially at this time of year with spring equinox just about to happen. But before we get started in our celebrations together, I just wanted to do a shared land acknowledgement, if I may. The EarlyON Child and Family Centers of Simcoe County acknowledge that we are situated on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe people. The Anishinaabe include the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi nations, collectively known as the Three Fires Confederacy. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture and committed to moving forward in the spirit of reconciliation and respect with all First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people.
Miigwech, Leanne. So I would like to do our smudge now to help us get started in a really good way. All right. So as always, you may join me or you may smudge after the fact, whatever you're comfortable with. So we're gonna smudge our hands, and then I like to smudge around me, smudge my glasses because they help me to see. We're gonna smudge our eyes so we see clearly and in a kind way, our ears so we hear clearly and in a kind way, our mouths so we speak clearly and in a kind way, our hearts so we receive information in a kind way, and our tummies because we don't want to be sick any more than we already are. So miigwech, and I hope that you start your day in a very kind and generous way. Miigwech. Right, and I know, Margie, you have a really beautiful song that always gets us started in a great way. So if you wouldn't mind doing that for us, I would really appreciate it.
Thank you, Angela. I would love to. So I'm going to do our hello in 3 languages. I will do English, French, and some signing. And Angela, I'd love it if you would do the Ojibwe version of our hello song when I finish those, and maybe we can drum along. Hello everybody, and how are you? How are you? How are you? Hello everybody, and how are you? How are you today? Bonjour mes amis, comment ça va? Comment ça va? Comment ça va? Bonjour mes amis, comment ça va? Comment ça va aujourd'hui?
Miigwech, miigwech. Aanii, 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 Anishna, Anishna, Aanii, 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 Anishna, Anishna. Miigwech, and we're here today to talk a little bit about the spring equinox. What is that? Well, let me tell you. Spring arrives on Sunday, March the 20th at 11:33 in the morning, especially in the Northern Hemisphere where we live. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that the sun is passing right over the equator. And it's not the farthest away or the nearest away. It's right over the equator. There's the same number of daylight and nighttime hours. And after spring equinox, the days start to get longer and longer until June 21st when it's summer solstice. Now, spring is recognized by many, many people, but in Indigenous cultures, sometimes there's a ceremony. And the ceremony is about new beginnings and rebirth, and it also meant new opportunities for food. So Historically, people traveled to get to their food, and this meant that certain animals would be in a certain place and you could harvest them at this time of year. Plants, medicines, and even maple tree tappings were available in the spring. Now, I do have a story that I'd like to tell you, and it's about the sugar maple Lenape story. And the Lenape are part of the Algonquin family, and they live here near St. Thomas in Ontario. So long, long ago, the sugar maple in Arctic, in Ojibwe. So remember, I'm learning these sounds, okay? He was suffering from some intense itching. The grubs and the beetles were underneath his bark, and even though he had lots and lots of arms and fingers, he couldn't scratch himself. The itching was so unbearable and so uncomfortable, he didn't know how he was going to stop the suffering. Well, finally, he called out, "Hey, Agitimo! Agitimo! Can you help me?" Now, what do you think that squirrel said? "Not right now, too busy eating my nuts." So then he said, "Hey, dog! Dog, can you help me?" That's the porcupine. But the porcupine, he was too busy nibbling away on his tree trunk. So then he said, "Hey, Hammock! Hammock, can you help me?" Well, Hammock, he was too busy chopping down and nibbling on the birch trees. Sorry, I had to think about what tree he was nibbling on. A birch tree. Oh, so even though they were sympathetic, they couldn't help him with that itching and itching and itching. So away they went on about their day. He called out, "Hey! Hey, birds! Benishiwag, can you help me?" Well, just then, in flew the woodpecker. Now, this woodpecker, in Ojibwe, is Meme, the pileated woodpecker. And he said, Meme, can you help me?" Well, Meme thought about it, and he said, "I think I can." So he started to peck at the tree and peck at the tree. He was getting those grubs and beetles, but there were far too many for him. So he called to his friends. He said, "Hey, Flicker." This is a northern flicker. And in Ojibwe, it's Mooningane. So I apologize, I'm working on it. So he said, can you come and help me?" So he did. But there was still way too many bugs. So he called Wapase, the downy woodpecker. "Can you help me?" Well, surely he did. And they pecked and they pecked and they pecked until all the bugs were gone. Now, off they went. Off they went. The tree was happy until one day he was standing there all by himself. And guess who came back? Meme. Meme says, I'm really thirsty. Can you help me? Can you help me?" And so the sugar maple, he said, "You know what? I think I can. If you fly down to the bottom of my stump and peck a little hole, and maybe 2 or 3, tap, 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 tap," he said, "I'll give you some of my sap, and you can drink that." Well, that sounded like a really good deal. So Meme went down to the bottom of the tree, tap, 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 tap. Oh, wow, he was so thirsty, but not anymore. He got the sap from the tree. And now you know how the sugar maple helps out the birds, and the birds help out the sugar maple. much for listening. So, you know, Jen, I think probably you have something that you could share with us next.
Reg, Angela, thank you for the story. I brought some animals and I'm going to try and do a song. But again, I'm a language learner and I'm practicing with some words. Please bear with me. Now that the snow has gone away, one friend went out to play. Amick had such enormous fun that he called for another friend to come. Oh, friend, now that the snow has gone away, two little friends went out to play. Amick and Makwa went out to play, and they had such enormous fun that they called for another friend to come. Oh, friend. They called for Moose. Now that the snow has gone away, three little friends went out to play. Amick, Makwa, and Moose. And they had such enormous fun that they called for another little friend to come. Oh, friend, Banishi. Now that the snow has gone away, four little friends went out to play. Amick, Makwa, Moose, and Banishi. And they had such enormous fun that they finally fell asleep in the daylight sun. Night.
Oh, that's such fun, Jen. Great job using the new words. That reminds me of a story that I know, and I'm learning some new words too about this time of year with all the different animals and things coming out and the snow starting to melt. But my story is about grandfather's son, Mishomis Jesus, and the strong wind, Nudin. And just like this time of year, you can feel them battling it out. And they were having an argument. They were both in agreement that they were the strongest. Nudin said, "I'm the strongest. I'm stronger than you, Mishomis Jesus." "Oh, well, I don't know about that, Nudin. How will we find out who's the strongest?" Well, just then they both looked down and they saw a traveler walking along the road. And he was wearing his coat. And Nudin said, "Oh, the strongest one will be able to get that man to take off his coat. I'm going to win." Well, Mishomis Jesus said, "Well, don't be too sure, Nudin. I think I'd be able to get that jacket off that man." Well, Nudin said, "Well, I'm going to go first. I'll show you how strong I am." And he blew. And he blew. And it got colder, and the man clutched his coat tighter, and he blew stronger. And he felt ice pellets and bits of snow and rain falling, just like in the spring equinox time. And the man just pulled his coat tighter against the wind. That coat wasn't coming off. And then Mishomis Jesus came out, and he started to shine quite brightly. And the man undid his coat a little bit because he was getting warm. And this Mishomis Jesus shone even brighter. And the man was getting very hot. And he shone very, very brightly. So brightly and warmly that the man had to take his coat off. Well, it was then that they both agreed that Mishomis Jesus had won. And winter was over. Just in time for lots of things to grow and change the world. The snow was melting away, the wind is getting warmer, and the sun's getting brighter. And Margie, do you have a song or a story?
So that reminded me of what I love to search for as winter is ending is the flowers. So I will be looking forward to getting out and trying to find my favorite flower of spring. So this story is called The Violet and the Crocus, and it's by Lenore Hetrick. And it goes like this. Is it time to awaken? The violet asked. The crocus peeped at the sky. Not yet, dear flower, she whispered low. Some snowflakes are going by. Is it time to grow? The violet questioned after a day had passed. Not yet, said the crocus. Peeping again, I still feel winter's blast. The third time the violet opened her eyes, she heard a loud, harsh sound. It shook all the earth, the trees and the hills, and was felt way down in the ground. Is it time, friend crocus? The violet asked, and the crocus lifted her head. Oh no, said she, there's a wind like a lion. It's best that we stay in bed. The violet opened her big blue eyes. A wind like a lion, you say? Then March is here, wild stormy March, and it's time to be on our way. So up from the soil, the crocus and violet pushed their way to the sky, and the wild March wind gave each one a kiss as he went tearing by. Up they grew from the ground.
Oh, what a beautiful, beautiful story. I love it. Thank you so much, Margie. Thank you so much. So in keeping with our theme, I thought I would tell you a little bit of a story about Nana Bojo. And this is Nana Bojo and the maple trees, and it's an Ojibwe legend. So a very long time ago, when the earth was new, the Creator made things that were easy for everyone, easy for the people. There was plenty of animals to harvest, the weather was good, the maple trees were filled with thick, sweet syrup. And whenever anyone wanted them, they could just break off a branch and it would drip, 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 drip right into their mouth. Ooh, that sweet syrup. Well, one day, Nana Bojo, he went out walking and he said, I think I'll go visit my Anishinaabe friends. So he went to the village, but no one was around. He went to the stream and there was no one fishing. Then he went to the fields, but no one was there working in the fields. And they were not gathering the berries. Finally, he found them. There they were, laying on their back, on the ground, with their mouths wide open, catching the syrup as it dripped, dripped, dripped from the tree. This will not do, said Nana Bojo. My people are needing to get up and get moving. They're going to be lazy if they stay like this. And they're going to end up with great big bellies. Oh, so Nana Bojo, he went down to the river and he scooped up some water in his bucket, birch bark bucket, and he went to each tree and he poured a bucket and poured a bucket and poured a bucket in the tree. Now, the syrup was no longer thick syrup. It was this thin, watery sap. It will take them lots and lots of buckets to collect the sap in order to make syrup. So this will stop them from being lazy, and they won't end up with big bellies anymore. So off they go. They would collect the sap in their buckets and they will put them in a big log and they will heat the stones and put them in that log until it bubbles and bubbles away all the extra water and makes the syrup. They will appreciate this gift that Creator gave them. And not only does sap drip from the trees only in the springtime, it also helps them when they're gathering animals and fishing and tending to their crops. This is the way it's going to be. And Nanabojo and Creator, we know that to this day, we can only get our maple syrup from the tree, the maple tree, this time of year in the spring. Once it gets a little bit longer into the summer, there's no more sap in those trees for us. So now you know the Ojibwe legend of Nanabojo and the maple trees. Miigwech.
What a great story. I love that. Angela, that reminds me of a maple tree song. Our little ones love to pretend. So if you want, you can pretend you are a tree as I sing my maple tree song. So you can be a tall tree or a short tree, a wide tree, whatever you like. Just make your body look like a tree. And you're going to need some branches, of course. And we're going to pretend we are maple trees. Deep in the heart of a maple tree, slowly the sap is stirring up from the roots that reach far in the mud, out to the branches, out to the buds. Oh, said the tree, I hear a robin sing. I'll have to wake up, for it must be spring. Did you wake up your maple tree? Thank you. Miigwech.
Margie, that was lovely. It reminds me that the bear, Makwa, wakes up about now because he has been hibernating in the cave and his little tummy is rumbling. So after his long winter's nap, Makwa went to the stream to catch some dinner. Makwa puts in his paw and splish splash caught a fish just like that.
That was such fun, Jen. It's like magic. Springtime really is like magic when the earth changes how it is in our hemisphere. I have a little song about spring that it's almost spring. And it goes something like this. So you remember Mishomis Gizis? The sunshine gleams so bright and warm. The sky is blue, the sky is clear. I run outdoors without a coat. It's almost springtime. But look who's coming along. There's Newton. There's the strong wind. Then before I know it, small clouds blow together till the sun just can't get through, and again it's mitten weather.
Oh, Leanne, that's so much fun. It's true. Sometimes we're just about ready thinking that spring has sprung, and then we have to get our mittens out again. But that's okay. It doesn't last long. Well, I'm so thankful for everyone for being here today. Miigwech to you all, and miigwech for all that you shared. So I think we'll end off in our typical usual way with Bama P. So feel free to join me if you have a drum or tap along, whatever you're comfortable with. Here we go. Bama P, Kawaba men. Bama P, Kawaba men. Bama P, Kawaba men. Bama P, Kawaba men. Way-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya, ho. Way-ya, hey-ya, hey-ya, ho. Wamapi, Kawaba men, until I see your light again. Miigwech for joining us. Take care. Wamapi!
Please remember to like and subscribe.